how to run a processor against a different chain. You will need to have WebSocket endpoint to connect to the chain node and a SQUID archive. For a registry of SQUID archives, check this community-owned archive registry. If you don't find a suitable SQUID archive in the registry, set up your own SQUID archive. There are multiple examples in this repository. Once set up, we encourage to contribute to the SQUID community and make a PR to the archive registry. The schema file defines the shape of the final GraphQL API and has very few limitations. Designing the schema file is very similar to the design of the database schema. As a rule of thumb, the schema should represent high-level domain-specific entities and relations between them, to make data fetching and filtering easy for the API consumers. Typically, the API is consumed by the front-end and mobile apps, so it's a good idea to design the schema even before you go on with implementing the processor mappings. In fact, the processor is completely independent from the GraphQL server serving the API, so you can experiment how the API looks like. SubSquid takes a multi-layered approach that separates raw data ingestion from data processing and presentation. This is very useful for the vast majority of developers, as it adds a layer of abstraction, taking care of data ingestion and synchronization, and exposing decoded substrate chain entities, events and extrinsics, as well as entire blocks, for developers to process. The Squid data pipeline consists of two core components: archive, data source, can be shared by multiple query nodes. Squid, the data transformation part of the pipeline. archive can be thought of as a blockchain crawler, a data pipeline that systematically browses blockchains and that is operated by a decentralized network of SQUID archive node operators for the purpose of blockchain indexing. In the context of a SQUID query node, a processor is responsible to get data from an archive, transform it, and store it in the database. The GraphQL server is a separate web server providing a GraphQL API. More on the official website for the entities in the data store. Archives should not be confused with archive nodes, although the concept is vaguely similar, since both preserve the full blockchain history, without any pruning. The difference is that our archives are special services, with specific endpoints, tailored for data retrieval. An archive is responsible for continuously ingesting raw data from the blockchain, process blocks, and save them in a database, along with events and extrinsics, for easier access through GraphQL APIs. Its main purpose is to provide a service to be high performance, higher level data source for SQUID. An archive includes the following components and services: